Well, while most of us will be staying home this New Year's Eve, it doesn't mean we can't break out a little bit of bubbly to celebrate the end of 2020. So to fill us in on what the options are if you want to break out the champagne or something like it, we have joining us Mike Lee from BevMo to give us some options. Mike, Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us. And what would you recommend?
So when we talk about champagne, sparkling wine, what I really recommend for people is going with classic champagnes using the champagne method. That's why I have Moet here today, some Veuve Clicquot, some Joseph Perrier, some classic champagne houses that have that style that people are looking for to celebrate with.
Does it depend on where it's made, how it's made?
Yeah, so the difference between sparkling wines and what makes champagne really special is the style and method that they use to create it, called the traditional method. And what that means is the secondary fermentation happens in the bottle, and this takes a lot more time. So when they add yeast to start that secondary fermentation into the bottle, you have to sit and wait, and it has to age for a minimum of 15 months. So it takes a lot longer in that process for that yeast to interact, to get those autolytic profiles that we really like in champagne, that bread, that biscuit profile, that brioche style. There's more time and effort that goes into using this traditional method, and that's why you also get that cost too. The grape and the vineyard management also makes a difference in champagne. Everything that is champagne and says champagne on it has to come from the Champagne region, as well as those grapes.
And there's also sparkling wines that there's plenty of options here. California-made sparkling wines, and what are some of those that you'd recommend?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend something like Gloria Ferrer, where they're still using that traditional method. This is made in Sonoma. We have some great grape growing regions in Carneros. And what you can really do with those grapes is it gets a cool climate. So you're using Chardonnay particularly in the cool climate. And what you want is that acidity that that cloying acidity that people really enjoy in sparkling wines with that effervescence. And so California is great because we have some nice, cool regions for grape growing. Now we can also recommend Prosecco. Prosecco is all the rage too.
I was going to say, do you pair certain types of champagne or sparkling wine with a meal or an appetizer the way you would a regular wine?
Of course, champagne is a great aperitif, but it's also a fantastic food wine. Mushrooms, oysters, seafood in that fare, but it's great with past hors d'oeuvres as well. So it is because of that acidity, you get that great balance with food. Right now, what I'm drinking is the Earl Stevens Prosecco. That's right, E40's Prosecco. I like the fact that it's bright, it's acidic, it's a little bit sweeter, so it's great in a cocktail, but also great with your aperitif and your hors d'oeuvres as well.
Now, if you are a champagne sparkling wine newbie, what is the correct way to pop open the cork so that you don't send a projectile through your ceiling?
Yeah, I don't recommend swords if you're new to this. I don't recommend doing that at all. So the first step is, of course, to remove the top foil. And then right here in the cork, you always want to make sure your thumb is on top of it. Now the cage that goes around the cork here and holds everything in place, it only takes about 6 twists, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to completely off. But you still want that cage on there. And so what people make a mistake about is they try to push it out with two thumbs or something like that. You really want to always keep contact on the cork and twist from the bottom of the bottle away from your friends and family, and slowly let that come off. And then that's it. Super small, no big gush of bubbly coming out. We don't want to waste bubbly. Remember, it takes a lot of time to make that. So super simple. You just got to make sure you're not pointing it at friends and family in case something does go wrong.
All right, you make it look so easy. Thanks, Mike Lee with BevMo. Thanks for all those tips and options. Happy New Year to you, and gives us something to think about for our low-key, very small in-home roommates, family members only type New Year's Eve gatherings. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks so much, and thanks for
you.
shopping at BevMo.